going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be giving a letter grade for every single player the Minnesota Vikings drafted in the 2024 NFL Draft. But before we dive into that, guys, if you guys could hit that subscribe button before we dive into today's show. Closing in on 25,000 subscribers here on the channel, and we are less than 10 away. So if you guys haven't already, I'm asking for your help, and I would really appreciate it if you guys hit that sub button. Let's start off with the potential quarterback of the future, and that is J.J. McCarthy. I'm going to give this an A-letter grade for two reasons. Number one, I'm a believer in McCarthy. I think he's going to end up being the second best quarterback in this year's draft class, and I think he was drafted to a perfect situation for himself by being selected by the Minnesota Vikings. You got top-end receivers like Jefferson, Jordan Addison, elite tight end, T.J. Hockenson, two bookend tackles, and you have a guy like Kevin O'Connell and Josh McCown that'll be able to sandpaper his game over the first 2 years that he will be here. And overall, he's a winner. He's got a big-time arm. He's got elite mobility, and I think he's going to be a winner at the next level. And also the second biggest reason why I'm a believer in him, he has the ability to sit for a season. You know, he does have a slimmer frame, but if you allow him to just fully work on that weight room, work on the playbook in his first year here with the Vikes, I think it could end up being very beneficial to him. And plus, you didn't have to trade up that much. You know, we heard the rumors, we heard the smoke screens that the Vikes maybe have to trade into the top 5 to land the Michigan quarterback. Turns out they only had to trade up to pick number 10. So overall, I'm going to give the J.J. McCarthy draft an A. But my favorite pick of the draft would have to be this guy, Dallas Turner. And if you would have told me a week ago today that the Vikings are going to draft Dallas Turner and J.J. McCarthy, I would have said you are freaking nuts. So I'm giving this pick an A+ for multiple reasons. Number one, he is an elite edge rusher. He's the number one edge in this year's class. He reminds me of Von Miller coming off the edge. Very similar bend, getting under bigger offensive tackles as he is only 6'2", but also his versatility fits really well into what Brian Flores likes to do on that defensive side of the football. He can drop in the coverage, and I can see it now. Van Ginkel, Grenard, Dallas Turner, all lined up on the line of scrimmage, and you're the opposing team quarterback. You got to pick and choose who is coming. So I give this move an A+. Think it's going to be defensive rookie of the year in the NFL, as he is the overall heavy favorite, actually, to win that award. So Dallas Turner, I'm giving you an A+. But let's kick it to Kyrie Jackson as a polarizing pick for the Minnesota Vikings, as they took him in round 4, pick 108, and I'm going to give the Oregon cornerback a B letter grade. Biggest part about him is he's big. He comes in at 6'4". He had an interesting kind of career path getting to the NFL. He started off his college career bouncing around JUCOs. Then he went to Alabama, didn't really play too much there. Then he transferred to Oregon, and we really only saw his first breakout season being in 2023. And if you guys want a good example of who he is, go watch his tape against Washington last season. Really struggled in game 1, but hey, man, in games 2 against Washington, he was absolutely fantastic. Had a pick against Michael Penix in the Pac-12 championship. So he's got really good size. He excels in press man, and again, a good scheme fit with Flores because, he likes to bring the heat on the defensive side of football, and he asks his corners to hold up without a whole lot of safety coverage. So I think Khyree, a lot of people wanted TJ Tampa, but I like to pick Kyrie Jackson over him just because of the scheme fit he will have with the Minnesota Vikings. But we'll get to the rest of the picks here in a second. But first off, I do want to give a big-time shout-out to today's sponsor, and that is Mando. Baseball season is here, and nobody likes a foul ball, just like how nobody likes a smelly dude. That's where Mando comes into play. Step up to the plate and take your personal hygiene more seriously with the Mando whole body deodorant. Developed by a doctor, this game-changing formula is safe for your entire body and knocks out odor like a champ. Guys, I originally thought deodorant was only for your armpits. Well, it's actually for your whole body. And, we've been stuck in a pretty tight studio throughout the whole NFL draft. And what has been my kind of game changer and kind of lifesaver here is Mando. It is the #1 deodorant out there on the market. So make sure you guys do get hooked up today, and we'll give you guys $5 off your starter pack if you guys do use code CHATSPORTS. Mando is made with mandelic acid, which picks off odor at the source, keeping you fresh for up to 72 hours. Mando is available in solid sticks, invisible cream, body wash, cleaning bars, and deodorant wipes for on-the-go use. Don't let foul balls ruin your game. Switch to Mando and keep your body odor in fair territory. Use code CHAT for $5 off. Control body odor anywhere with Mando and get $5 off your starter pack. That's over 40% off with promo code chat. Hit that link, shopmando.com, and plug in that promo code chat. We'll hook you guys up with $5 off. I love Mando. You guys will too. Link for that in the comment section and description of today's show. But in round 6, the first pick of the 6th round, the Vikings took offensive tackle Walter Rouse. And Walter Rouse, some notes on him that I had. So he did play, or he was a starter all 5 years in college, as his first 4 years were at Stanford. But this past season, he didn't give up a single sack in 858 snaps, but a big negative for him. He did have 9 penalties. He tends to get extremely, extremely grabby when he does get beat, but that's also the case with majority of tackles. And, even at the highest level in the NFL, that is always a negative that they have, but some good about him. Great size and length. Footwork technique is pretty solid in pass protection. Played through a torn labrum, actually, in 2022. Functional athlete, tested pretty solid. He actually has a 33-inch vertical at 6'5", 315 pounds. A little bad about him. He only really played left tackle. He does panic when he gets beat, prone to penalties, and he plays a little stiff for my liking. But, hey, man, I like to pick top of the sixth round, so Walter Rouse, I'm going to give that a B. But the Vikings took a kicker in the 6th round as well. At pick 203, they took Will Reichard, the kicker from Alabama, and just a little bit more about him. He was one of the best kickers in Alabama football history, and my kind of saying when I saw this Vikings get the pick, I was like, if Nick Saban likes him, I like him as well. So the last extra point he missed, a little fun fact here, was in 2021, only missed 2 extra points his entire career. Leg strength is a question mark with him, but he did get a whole lot better this past season. And he said he came back to show what he could do in the kickoff department, talking about coming back this past season. But just a very accurate leg, or a very average leg, but extremely, extremely accurate. We actually had him as our number 1 ranked kicker here at Jack Sports. So, hey, I like it. Give the kid a chance, and maybe the Vikings finally have a franchise kicker here in Minnesota for the first time ever. But the Vikings, in the 7th round, they did have 2 picks as well, and they went with Michael Jurgens, a center from Wake Forest. And I actually was a big fan of this pick. The Vikings have apparently been scouting this guy for a pretty long time, and, the Vikings need to address the interior of the offensive line. When they did make that pick of the Oklahoma offensive tackle, I had Christian Mahogany as my pick at the time, but they still address the interior of the offensive line in round 7 with Michael Jurgens, so I'm going to give this pick a B. What does this mean for Garrett Bradbury? Could he potentially play left guard? I am not too sure, but we will obviously have to wait and see how Michael Jurgens turns out. But hey, in the round 7, pick 230, I'm going to give this guy a B. But this is a guy I really like too. Levi Drake Rodriguez. So this is another guy the Vikings have had their eyes on for a very, very long time. So just a couple of notes about him. It was a defensive tackle that he did play at Iowa. And listen, guys, I am a big fan of him. He is an absolute mauler. He plays super, super hard. Like, he's got an extremely, extremely high motor. So kind of the play with him here was a certain Vikings scouting member, I forget his name. He had this guy actually pinned out 2 years ago, and he said, keep your eyes on him, keep your eyes on him. And it seems like nobody else really in the NFL did bite on Levi. So, hey, I'm going to give this pick a B. Vikings needed more depth on that defensive line. So, hey, looks like Drake Rodriguez will check that box. But let me know, overall grades for the Minnesota Vikings draft. Grade it for me. A, B, C, D, or F. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say down below in the comments. My overall grade with the Minnesota Vikings is an A. And I understand. Maybe day 3 did not go perfectly as we would imagined. Yes, he took an offensive tackle when he could have taken an offensive guard. I see that there. But, the highlight of the draft was getting J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner. And we look at the past 2 seasons, who won Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year? Well, it was Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. Then it was Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud. What if this year it's J.J. McCarthy and Dallas Turner? I thought both those picks just kind of carried this draft for the Vikings. And also, I do like the pick of the Oregon cornerback. So let me know your thoughts. What would you guys grade it? Also, give me a follow on Twitter right there at Pat Sieps. I'll give you guys a follow back if you guys do give me a follow over there. So really do appreciate you guys watching today's show. See y'all next time. As always here, Skol Vikes.